Salop Fan TV presents The Final Word, a matchday audio vlog written by Guy Smith for the FA Cup first round tie on Saturday the 2nd of November, 2024. Salford City 2, Shrewsbury Town 1. As I was leaving the ground after the game, a couple of people came up and asked me what I was going to write. I told them I didn't have a clue, and to be honest, I still don't. Today was so disappointing and predictable that I'm struggling to put into words quite how I feel. I actually arrived at the Peninsula Stadium feeling unnaturally positive and optimistic that we would be in the draw on Monday night. That probably sounds delusional considering our form, but I was expecting a result this afternoon. I admit that optimism took a hit when I saw the lineup. No Morgan Feeney or Leo, but Tommy O and Charles Sago Jr. were both in, which I was happy with. It just didn't look like the side I had in my head. 2 minutes into the game and I could feel my optimism draining away. We were all over the place and getting shredded with every Salford attack. It was a premonition of what was to come, because after 5 minutes, we didn't just fall behind, we collapsed. It was probably the third low cross that had been put across our 6-yard, and it was third time lucky for Salford and Lund, who smacked the ball in from close range. It was the kind of goal a Sunday morning pub side would concede. Unfortunately for the Town defence, they couldn't cite a dodgy curry and 9 pints of IPA as an excuse. Things could have got a whole lot worse very quickly, because the Ammies were looking for a second when that man Lund and Gabbert both went close. Town looked like a side born to struggle. They misplaced passes, were slow in mind and body, and weren't even good enough to be second best in a 2-horse race. Then, completely out of blue, after 15 minutes, we were level, and nobody was more sure than me. It was quite possibly the first time we had ventured into the Salford half. It might as well have been a minefield until then. Tommy O was involved in the build-up, but it was Marquis who applied the final touch from 12 yards. Finally, the travelling 880 Town fans had something to shout about, so cue the pyro. I'm surprised it still went off, as it's been that long since we had something to celebrate. That should have been the moment that settled my nerves. Town should have kicked on and we should have been in the hat come Monday. Should is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that last sentence, and it's fair to say it's not up to the job, and neither were Town. I've been saying it for weeks, and today it was more evident than ever. There is no leadership in this Town side or in the dugout from what I can see. Once things go wonky, there is no one who looks man enough to kick backsides and dish out the home truths. Winchester is no more a captain than I'm Rihanna's dream date. To be fair, I don't see a strong character anywhere in that squad, and that's a huge worry. After the equaliser, the game did settle down. That's a polite way of saying nothing happened. It was two poor teams huffing and puffing, and it was then I was back at Stevenage. At least there are planes to watch there. Today all we had to focus in was the game, and it was painful. I've not seen a Town side with so little desire and ability for a long while, and I was starting to wonder if L2 might be more of a stretch than I imagined. I'm always planning ahead. On 42 minutes I came to the conclusion that it could well be. Salford won a corner on our left, Gabbert took it and Lund was on the end of it to nod the ball down and in just inside the post. It was probably no more than they deserved, because despite being bang average, they were better than us. You've got to give credit where it's due. The half ended with boos and challenging comments from the Blue Amber Army. We had all made the effort to get to Salford, so it seemed fair to ask the players to reciprocate. I don't know what was said in the interval, but whatever it was, it had absolutely no motivational effect on the team in the second half. They came out the same abject shower that ended the first half. If anything actually happened in the second that was worthy of note, please let me know, because I'm really struggling. From memory, it was just 22 blokes running around trying to convince us spectators they were worth the ticket price. I beg to differ. We did have a goal chalked off for offside after Lloyd followed in on a fumble from Young, but that was as good as it got. It was about then I remember saying to the person next to me the real entertainment would make itself known at the final whistle. Basically, the second half was a non-event. We were absolute pants. No desire, no brains, and leadership. I could be talking about the captain of the Titanic, because I fear we are heading for the cold, dark, icy depths of L2 with no captain at the wheel. The game seemed to die in its feet. They milked every knock and tackle, and who could blame them? And until the last 5 minutes, we didn't seem bothered about getting an equaliser. It was embarrassing the way we seemed to throw the towel in. I honestly don't know where we go from here. The club tell us nothing, the players don't seem bothered, but as fans turn up week after week. I'm feeling disillusioned and fed up by our obvious decline. I understand the club might not want to reveal all. But I think we have now reached the point of no return, and some honesty is long overdue. The Roland out chants at the end tell their own story, and it's only just begun. Whether you agree with it or not, it has its own momentum and nothing will stop it other than a major shake-up. We seem to be a club without any direction or leadership, and it's both worrying and embarrassing. Nobody seems to be in control, and until that happens we are screwed. I can only see us heading in one direction, and it's not up. We are a club in crisis, but nobody in control seems to be overly bothered. I'm sure they are, but silence breeds rumors, and we are at that point where someone needs to tell us what is happening. I'm not calling for heads on stakes, but I do think it's time the club stopped gaslighting us and told us what's happening regarding the supposed takeover and whether Hurst is bulletproof, 'cause we don't have the money to compensate him. It's late, I've had a drink or three, so it's probably time for me to shut up. I don't need a libel charge. I'll be at Burton next Saturday because that's my Saturday, but I'm not looking forward to it. I doubt anyone else is. Roland, take note. Floor eat salopia.